Welcome to East Tennessee Pinball. Today I've got this Apollo 13. So let me tell you kind of what's going on with it. So the guy on this, he brought it in, said the flippers were weak. And then we talked on the phone. By the time he brought it in here, he said there's another problem came up, and that is basically, so it's booted up right now, but if you start a game, it will crash. Kick the ball out there. Well, maybe it's not going to crash. Oh, it actually played the ball. So yesterday when I do this, it would crash. As soon as it kicked the ball out, or sometimes before it kicked the ball out, it would immediately crash. So I suspected, a bad 5-volt power supply, and it is actually a little bit bad. So just another thing looking around here. I see these AA batteries from 1987, or I don't know, maybe not that old, but they look pretty old. They're not leaking, fortunately, but they need to come off of there for sure, because that's a ticking time bomb. Those were, well, you can tell by the zip tie that to put that zip tie on there, you have to have the board off. So I know the guy that got this game, he's had it for, I think he said 12 years. So I'm guessing he probably didn't have that board off. But he might have, but I doubt it. So those things are probably at least 15 years old or so. VUK. I'm going to give them the thumbs up. They haven't leaked yet, but they need to come out. And they're still keeping the memory. When I boot it up, it's on free play. So those are things they still have voltage. It's like crazy, right? So I really need to pull both these boards off, and so I probably need to get a hold of the owner and talk to him and figure out exactly what to do. He mentioned the fact that the rubbers were at least 12 years old, and I said they probably need to go. And I look around, and it's like a bunch of them are actually missing. Like that post there doesn't have a rubber. The post right there, all the just beats up. It beats up the ball. It also beats up the post. It makes them prematurely get wiggly because it's just such a massive impact. Massive force when the ball hits it without any cushion. So, and I'm just looking at this game. It's pretty dirty around the pop bumpers and all that area, but to replace some of these rubbers, it requires a pretty good teardown. I mean, some of those little, if I get my finger and feel you that little rubber there, that requires tearing it off quite a bit. I don't know if there's like that rubber right there. That one's, you're not going to get to that. You got to take at least off this ramp and some of the stuff. So it's a fair amount of teardown. Yeah, there's some of the 13 balls this thing has on it. My gosh. Store some up there, store some down the trough. I always wondered where they were all at. I played this game, but I haven't ever worked on one before. So anyway, I'm going to call the owner, see exactly what he wants to do. I'm sure he's probably going to want to take care of this. I'm not sure if he's want to do all the rubbers. I think it's a little bit more expensive. The rubbers themselves are easy. It's just tearing apart the whole game to get to them. I know he wants to do the flippers, so I'll talk to him and figure out where we go from here. So I just got off the phone with the owner of this game, and we're going to recap this board. We're going to get rid of those batteries. I should take care of most of the electrical problems there. We're going to put new flippers on it. And I offered him 3 different levels of cleaning of the game. The first one was just like a freebie, like if the game was on route, cleaning it while it was at a location, just 10-15 minutes, whatever I can do in 10-15 minutes, clean it, wax it, call it good. Next one was, spending about 4 hours really trying to clean it as best I can in about 4 hours, which is quite a bit of time. I mean, you can get in a lot of nooks and crannies, but you're not really tearing anything apart, and replacing some of the easy to access flippers or easy to access rubbers, including replacing some of these that are missing here. And the next one was a price to basically strip this whole thing apart and put it back together again. That gets, a lot of people balk at that price because it comes, it takes at least a solid day to do that. A day plus on some of these games. And this might be one of those games. I don't know. I haven't taken this one apart before, but it's got several layers of stuff. So you got to keep bag and tag and keep track of all the little nuts and bolts, and it becomes kind of a chore. So anyway, he's going to do the second tier on the cleaning, and that's probably what I would do if I was him also. So anyway, I think next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start by fixing this power supply here, recap it, and then we'll go from there. So I got the board on the bench here. Looks like somebody robbed Q6. I'm guessing that one probably isn't used and put it somewhere else. So when it flips over, you're going to see somebody's done a little bit of work to this board. Looks like all the caps are original. I want to say bridge. I thought it was bridge 21. Maybe it was bridge 20. Oh, maybe it is bridge 21. There's bridge 21. Is the 5 volts. And I don't remember which one of these caps. It's whichever one's tied. Well, no, it's be tied to here, so I can flip it over and look. Here's what you see on the back of the board. So somebody swapped out that one, that one, that one, and that one. It's taking that one, the transistor. I think that's all the work that's been done to the board. The header pins look, zoom in here, they all look pretty good. No cold solder joints. Well, you can see a lot better zoomed in than you can with the naked eye. So they look moderately decent. Yeah. So I'm going to get out the manual, or just set my camera down here so I can figure out which one of these caps is on that 12 volt line. So these are the online schematics on IPDB for Apollo 13. They're really hard to read, just low quality digital. So I went ahead and found the sister game, GoldenEye. And yeah, this is a lot easier to read. And what I was assuming was that the 5 volts would be made for the 12 volts, but it's not. So we got 8 volts AC across pin 1 and 4 comes to that bridge 21 rectifier, and you've got C, I don't know, it's 283, 203, something like that. That's a big cap. And then it goes to the LM338, and that's making our 5 volt. So I pulled off that C203. That's for the 18 volts. It makes the 5 volts, and it's supposed to be a. If I get the leads back on here, one-handed. It's supposed to be a 15,000 microfarad, and it's like 12, 11 and a half, 11.2. Yeah, this one for C30, which was the 12 volts, it's also only reading 11. I said it's half. It's supposed to be 15, so it's not half. It's like a 20. So it's a little more than 2/3. I'm not sure that that's bad. I mean, it's not up to snuff. I'm not sure that's bad enough to be causing the ripple that we're seeing, though. So I'm not sure this is going to be the entirety of the problem. So put the game back the board back in the game. Didn't fix the problem. That is actually feeding for the 5. That's what would. Whoa, that is. Wow. Well, there's one clue. That is hot. Suppose it hadn't blown. That's not right. I mean, that's hot. You can't even touch it. So anyway, it was doing the same behavior. Started wiggling the wires, the header there and this header here. I think that's all the red ones are the 5 volts coming out. I'm pretty sure that's the 5 volts coming in here on this board. Might be this one here. I'm not sure right at the moment. But anyway, just kind of as a first check, I just try to mash these a little bit. Just kind of reseat them real quick. And now the game's not booting. So I'm suspecting it's a bad socket on one of these chips. Because right now it's got nothing, but that is It's still leaving a little bit warm. That thing was so hot. That is F23, which is for the DC Logic. So something is not right for that thing to be that hot. I can't believe it's not blowing. It is a slow blow, but you know, let's see the sound or the I don't think, well, the soundboard boots for a second. And I do have, I think the soundboard's probably a separate system on this game, a separate computer. The display pops up for a second. And that's it. So I've got bigger problems here. Yeah, that's hot. It's not right. Well, I'll have to get back to this another day. It's late and I got other fish to fry tonight. Here's the MPU of this Apollo 13. It's got these old batteries. Let me zoom in here a little bit. There's no corrosion on the board that I can see, but you can see the beginnings of corrosion on these wires here. So this thing definitely needs to go. When I get this thing out, I'm going to see if I can find a date on those batteries. Fortunately, this has got a 6264 chip, so I've got an nVRAM replacement, so I can just pull that chip in and throw another one and get rid of these batteries, and it's going to be gone. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the battery holder also to get rid of any corrosion in the battery holder, and then nobody will ever be inclined to put batteries in it in the future. So I pulled one of these batteries out of here. I do not see a date. It does say guarantee we will replace or repair at our option any device damaged by this battery if sent with batteries prepaid to guarantee void if battery is recharged. Rayovac Corp, Madison, Wisconsin. I wonder if that would still work. Anyway, it's a pretty old battery. Just gonna actually just soldered from this one side, looks like. Get this sucker out of there. Yep. And there is no corrosion on the board at all, so that's good. I just recently splurged and got myself an actual chip puller instead of using Harbor Freight pick tool. I don't know if this is going to do any better. And not quite enough. Well, if I bend it a little bit, it'll work. There we go. So that's out. Ooh, that leg is a little bent. They're all in. That should do it. That was super easy. Okay, I'll throw this back in the game and maybe done with this. So I got the game back in the board back in the game. The second time I booted it up, actually, I went ahead and I had to put it on free play again, and it's doing a free play. It's keeping its memory, and it'll play the game. Jane's gonna do a moderate job on this. Gonna clean it up without stripping it down, so she's just starting to clean the cabinet. It's already looking better. Rebuild these flippers and go through it and see what else we find is working. I saw earlier this thing is it's supposed to have a little bit of friction so that it basically goes back and forth every time the ball goes down, and it's not. It needs a little sprung washer or something in there, or just a little spring in there. Just put a little pressure on it. So I might do that right now. So I took this apart, and I don't know exactly how this was rigged up before, but I'm going to try to start with put a spring from a pop bumper skirt in there and see if that's about the right pressure. So there's that pop bumper skirt spring, and just throw these parts back on there. I'm gonna need 2 hands, and that seems much better. I think the ball will actuate that. Probably get a ball and make sure. Oh, there's one right here. Okay, so not quite. So it doesn't quite go that, like that little piece there isn't quite long enough, because it can sneak by. I think the ramp is broken right there, so it's falling off to the right because that blue piece right there is missing, I think. Yeah, it's definitely broken right there, so that's why it's not. If it goes fast, it works. So I guess the slowest it could go is if it fell from dead stop up there. So it's working fine. I may put just a drop of blue thread lock. That's a nylon nut, but I've got it tuned about where I want it, so I put one little drop of thread lock on there, the blue, the temporary, and just kind of lock it in place. Houston, we have found the dark side of the moon. I haven't played this game much, like hardly at all, and just realized this thing has motorized. I played a couple games earlier, and the moon never rotated. It doesn't look like it's rotated over in a while. I've got it rotated upside down right now. It does, if you put it in test and go through the motors, it will rotate, but I'm not exactly sure what you got to do to get it to rotate in the game. Maybe I just suck and I didn't play well enough to get it to rotate, or maybe the switch that causes it to rotate is not switching. So I have to look into that. But in the meantime, Jane's trying to get it kind of cleaned up. I can rotate it whatever position you want.
Whoop,
there
stop.
You go. Yeah, that's pretty nasty.
Yeah.
It looks like it's meant to grab the ball here and dump it right there, I'm thinking.
Yeah, because I mean, it just goes on that axis.
And that looks like that would either a permanent magnet or electromagnet, one or the other. I guess we can find out if it's a permanent magnet. It is not a permanent magnet. May have to get out the manual and read about it, or watch a video of some gameplay. Well, that's enough watching her clean this. It's a little makes me thirsty. I mean, no, it just makes me thirsty. That's all, and it's a little early in the day. So I just watched a video of it. Basically, there's 2 lights here on that ramp, and when the right one is lit, when you shoot up there, that the moon grabs it on the backside, rotates around, and drops it. So yes, here I'll show you. He's about to get it. Got it. And there's the ball. Okay, so I know I've shot that one with the light lit, but I don't know which light was lit when I shot it. So I'm gonna have to play a little bit more. Play with my fingers, make sure the switch up there is registering on that loop shot. Okay, I figured out a little something on the moon. So you just boot up the game. Well, it's not lit. No, it's not lit. Well, so the motor goes, the globe does move back and forth. They verified that, but you know, it doesn't grab. And that's why, because there's 2 wires that go up there. This one there is attached, but this one is not. It's sheared off, so I gotta, I don't know, take that globe out of there. Probably resolder that wire onto the, there's gonna be a coil inside of it, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to take this thing out of here. I'm not sure the easiest way to do this. Doesn't look like an easy thing to do. So there's that one wire. Oh, there's the other one. So they both go in the same little hole right there, and that was just sheared off. Well, shoot. Maybe if I rotated it, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna have to crack this thing in half. I have to crack the egg open. Well, it looks like to take this thing off, you basically take this bracket off and that bracket off, and maybe the whole thing just comes back out the bottom of the game. That's what it looks like anyway. Not exactly sure, but I think that might do it. And then be able to, because it's got the basically a shaft going through it. You take it, the 2 cotter pins or whatever's holding the ends of the shaft, so you can break it open and resolder that wire in. Well, that was a real mother to get out of there. I was taking it out, and Jane's like, "That's a little bit like giving birth." It's like, I wouldn't know, but I'll take your word for it. Anyway, so that wire there, I got it open now.
The wire's cut.
So that wire there just sheared off right there, and that's why it's not working. So it's just a matter of, yeah, reattaching that wire and let's see if there's this one does not look like it's about to shear off. So there's this little bracket that it drops the hole into, and those wires kind of like rub up here a little bit. So I think that's probably what happened, is this thing over time just kind of cut through. Yeah, so that's all the hardware that came out to get this. There's a little tensioner, belt tensioner there. There's a, yeah, you had to go from the top and the bottom. It's kind of a pain. So anyway, I'm gonna start by reattaching this wire and ensure that this magnet works, and then put it all back together before the gremlins get a hold of all the parts and take it all over the place. You had to undo all this, so I had enough movement to get it out. Yeah. Maybe there's an easier way to do it. I tried to take it off from the top, and I got one side, I got one C-clip off, but there wasn't enough movement to get the whole thing apart from the top. I just couldn't quite do it. So maybe if you took the whole ramp assembly off, but I'm trying not to have to do that on this game. So anyway.
But now I can get to more of it if this is out.
Yeah, you can clean it very well. And Jen goes like, "Man, it's time to get out of here, dude. It's 3:15. He's like ready to roll." Look at him.
Poor baby.
He can get his afternoon constitution. He's ready. All right, I got it wired up here, and I'm in the test mode. Let's see. Yeah, it definitely grabs it. It's a pretty powerful magnet. So just have to put this thing all back together, and I think we'll be a go. All right, so I got this thing put back together. That was a total pain in the butt to take that thing apart and put it back together. Yeah, these DMD eras are like the hardest pinball machines in terms of playfield machinery. Before they were simpler, and after they're simpler in terms of like taking them apart and putting them back together. These are like some of the worst in terms of getting this stuff. They're just not easily accessible. But anyway, I'm gonna fire this ball up here, and the moonshot's lit. So if I throw it up in there, it ought to grab it. And okay, it grabbed it. Cool. I don't know where it comes back out. Back to shooter range. All right, super. Yeah. This game's got a shaker motor in there too. It's pretty cool. You want to see 13 balls real quick? How about that? I think, well, if I can throw it up in there. I've been hanging around Todd Ducky a lot lately. Okay, now I hit it one more time and I think it's going to do it. There we go.
7, 6, ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
I'm just going to put my hands here. I think I may have to shoot it one more time to drop the 8 balls from the top. It says left orbit, spinner, right orbit, complete moon to like super jackpot. Okay. I think. Huh. I can throw it up in there. So we got the moon working. One thing I've noticed is when you play the 13 ball and the multi-ball, if you drain all the balls at once, like if you're working on the flippers, let's say, and the flippers don't work, so as soon as that post goes down, they all go down, you end up with a ton of balls right here. And there's this mechanism here that basically meters the balls into the VUK, the vertical up kicker right here. And this thing, when it's got that pressure of all the balls kind of leaning up against it, it doesn't have enough oomph to do it. It's just kind of sticky. So I am in the process of taking this out so that I can clean it up and probably put a new coil sleeve in that coil. Yeah, so just monkeying it. It's free if you push it directly down, but if you put any side motion, it totally binds up. It's not binding up in here, it's binding up with a shaft on the sleeve. So probably that sleeve is the original sleeve, and probably when I take it apart, it'll probably be nice and dirty. So I'll take this neck apart, put a new sleeve on there, and I'll do that. So just a couple 1/4 inch nuts or little bolts down here and get them out. Well, I have seen dirtier looking, but either case, I'm gonna put a new one on there, and I think that's gonna help it get everything snugged up tight. So part of the problem in this game is you get like lose where the balls are at. So I was looking on the trough switches, and the last one right that's beneath the VUK that shoots it up is opto driven. So this is one side of the opto, and look at these header pins. And our friend cold solder joint, that is very cold. It's snapping, pack, 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 pack. It just breaks these solder joints. So I take this one off. I'm gonna take the other one off and reflow both of them, and I think that will get rid of that. Will finish the problem. So part of it was that one little lever I just showed you was stuck. I put a new sleeve in there. That's working better, but it's still like randomly it started firing the VUK. And it's because it was losing signal to here, which basically it thinks there's a ball, so it thinks it's occluded, but really it's not transmitting or not receiving. And so we get these things reflowed and put them back in there, and hopefully that'll fix the rest of the issues with the ball trough. So here's the other one. It's pretty cold too, especially that further pin. I think I got everything going. I realized to get the 13 balls, we got to do the blast off shot enough to spell out blast off, and then when you shoot the rocket, then it'll, whoops, sorry about that, dropped y'all. Then you'll qualify the 13 ball shot. And I'm gonna go ahead and let it just drain and see if it jams now that I've gone through all this stuff. It may kick one out just because I don't have the skirt on it like it just did right then. There's a flood of balls. So in a little bit, I'm gonna lose my post, and they're all just gonna try to jam up like it was before. We'll see. Okay, it fed one. I don't know where that. See, it seems like there was a ball up at the top somewhere. Don't see one. Okay, it's feeding them up the top. shoot the rocket. It thinks there's still a ball in play. I did take one ball out. I wasn't ever sure if I had enough balls in here. But it doesn't know where the balls are at because they're not all on the switches. Because they're all stacked up here. That's what's going on. They lost them so fast. It doesn't know where they're at because they're not sitting on the switch. They're just sitting here. Now it knows where they're at. Okay. Okay. Perfect. It reloaded it. It's got them all here. It does the bonus. Now it's just... Oh, well. Let's put my initials in. See if it'll start another game. Go into the mood. I guess I'll do a regular... Okay, so I think all this nonsense is working now. So I guess it's got a little bit of a delay to kick those out because it thinks the game is still playing, basically, because it's got 4 or 5 balls. They assume you're not going to be as bad as I played just then. That just jumped off because it's on the skirt. That you're not going to lose 6 balls at one shot time when that post goes down like it does if you just let them sit there. But I can't play because I've got the flippers taken apart. I got the coils hanging down because I'm going to rebuild all that. So anyway, I think I'll probably stop this. Jane has started cleaning this up a little bit. Still got to fix some of these rubbers. And we're not doing a full tear down, just kind of like a partial cleaning, I guess. We're going to clean it best we can without tearing it down. We're going to change out some of the easier to get to rubbers, and that's kind of what the guy wants to do. And we're going to go from there. So I think I'll stop this video here. We're going to rebuild the flippers too. But it seems like everything's working here. And hope you liked the video. If you do, give it a like and subscribe. Maybe this helps somebody else with some issues on the trough. Definitely a lot to go through with 13 balls in this game. Cheers.